Go on your own journey. If you really, really want this so much, nothing should stop you.
Hello guys and welcome to Money Talks. Our main topics today will be around building a career and life that you love, and we have a very special guest, Lee Levi, famous actress, model, producer and entrepreneur. Lee has left an incredible mark in the movie world through her captivating performances and her behind-the-scenes contributions. Welcome Lee, and thank you so much for accepting my invitation today.
Thank you so much I'm really, really grateful to be here on the show today.
And I have some questions to you that will inspire for sure our viewers about how to build a career and a life to love.
Mm.
And I want to ask you, at what point in your life did you realize your passion for the film industry? If you can recall a particular moment when you discovered it.
So I recall I had the interest in this and passion about this industry since I was so little. I grew up at a small island in south of Denmark with only 500 people. And I remember it was my mother who started my interest and opened my eyes for cinema because since I was, I think, 8, 9, or 10, she introduced me to like the best filmmakers. I was not like I didn't have a regular normal childhood watching cartoons. I would say I was really watching. I remember I was pretty traumatized by The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, and I was about 10 years old. So I always like she wanted me to because she's such a film lover, and she cares so much about cinema and good performance. So she really made me. I would say it's definitely because of my mother. I love cinema.
That's amazing. So you shared the moment when you watched Birds. Are there any memorable films or filmmakers that inspired you during maybe college and university years when you already studied arts?
Mm, yes. So I went to no, I would definitely answer the question by saying again, it is Alfred Hitchcock, who is my all-time favorite filmmaker because he was the first filmmaker I actually started watching when I was so young. And then I started watching all his films. I remember for Christmas, all I wanted was like, you know, all the black and white films that he had. And also I remember I was 13 years old when I got the box for Christmas of the whole Twin Peaks series, which is
Mhm.
David Lynch and sorry, now I forgot the last name, the other maker of this incredible series. But I think I love drama. That's probably my genre, my favorite genre.
Mhm.
I like suspense drama, and of course also Stanley Kubrick, whom I studied a lot when I went to Los Angeles and studied film at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and then I went to the Lee Strasberg Institute. So I would definitely say Alfred Hitchcock, Stanley Kubrick, and Twin Peaks series as well.
Amazing. So you got like these models that inspired you and shaped your years of development. That's amazing. And it's clear you were passionate about film since a child, but what were the
Yes.
steps that you took in your life that really helped you to create a career, a successful career out of your inspiration for movies?
Hmm. So I was actually, I think the first goal of the biggest dream I had as a child, while growing up and watching Alfred Hitchcock and all these amazing filmmakers, my first dream was actually to be a dancer. I mean, it is quite in the same industry, but that was my biggest dream. I wanted to perform at Broadway, and I wanted to be like very, very famous in the dancing field. So I was 13 when I went to a boarding school in Denmark, which was like it was specialized in performing and actually in dance and gymnastics. So that's when I started to I kind of discovered my talent in dance. And I had a great coach who was, you know, teaching me and building me up. So when I finished at the boarding school, when I was 15, I went to Cambridge in the UK and I studied performing arts in college. And it was mostly dancing. It was everything: ballet, hip hop, jazz, contemporary. But then when I started getting into the professional, you know, the professional side of dance, where it was so intense, I kind of didn't enjoy it that much. I felt like I was, next to my studying, I was taking acting classes. And I started to discover, okay, maybe it is film that I want to do. I mean, I always had the vision that I want to make films, but I always thought, okay, maybe I will start with dancing. And then when I finished in Cambridge and I had taken all these acting lessons, I told my parents, I was about 17, 18, and I said, I want to go to Los Angeles now. I want to study in the best schools by the most incredible teachers. And that's what I did. So I think life is really like, we can plan a lot, but there is also things that just come to us. So I guess I always had a plan that I wanted to be in this field. I wanted to do films or performing arts. But as soon as I finished in Cambridge, I felt like this is the steps I'm going to take. I'm going to study 3 years in the best schools in Los Angeles, learn from the most incredible people. And then I'm just going to see where life takes me, I guess. I didn't plan much after that, really. But yeah.
And you know what I really loved about what you said? It's that you wanted to learn from the best. You had, you went and build yourself in the best schools with the best teachers. And I think this actually increased your chances to become the best.
Yes.
And that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can you describe a significant moment, an achievement in your career that actually validated your decision to pursue filmmaking?
Yes, I have a really clear moment, and it's a moment I will never forget. It happened 2 years ago. So I have only done, I mean, after studying in Los Angeles, I went to Israel, where I lived for 8 years, and I've done a lot of modeling work, a lot of television, but I never really had the opportunities in films until 4 years ago, where I got my first film role. It was a smaller role, but in a really good film with a really big cast. And then 2 years ago, I did my second film that we shot, that got out. It premiered in Italy last year. And it was it was one of the lead roles I had in that film in Italy. But I think that's when I got validated by my hard work, and my talent, because I remember the first film I had, which was, I was like playing the girlfriend of the lead actor, so I didn't have that many lines, but of course it was still a great project to do. But I didn't feel challenged. I mean, of course, I learned something. I learned being on the set with A-listers and working with an amazing director, an amazing team, but I didn't learn something or got challenged by my talent, my acting. And that's what I did when I did my second film as a lead role, because I remember the first scene I had, the first day I had on set in Italy 2 years ago shooting. And I was so nervous because it was actually a really big scene. And I remember after I did the scene and they said, cut, everyone just came and hugged me and told me that I was so amazing. And I totally understood the character. I nailed it. And I think that was a moment where I was really proud of myself, because I think we can all get, we are human beings where we are quite hard on ourselves, so that was for me a moment where I really got validated, where I understood, okay, I can do this. I'm not just going to play the girlfriend of, I can do the amazing parts, the challenging parts. So that really it lifted me up, where I just felt like, okay, I want to do these incredible characters.
Amazing. So actually, it's the balance of support and challenge that made you start feeling that you own it, that you are
Yes,
ready for the big things,
correct,
the big roles. Amazing.
correct, correct. Yes.
And looking back, is there any advice that you wish you had received when you were just starting this journey in filmmaking?
You know, it's a really, really good question. And I think I don't wish there was an advice I got. Um, I I think like if I can give an advice to people, it's
Mhm.
actually not to search for advices from people. Of course, it's amazing when we get you know um, people who come with some input or anything like that. But I think it's really, really important to trust your own journey and don't take suggestions from many people because I remember I got some people who told me this industry is so hard, it's brutal, it's you're gonna get so many no's, which is of course that's true, but I think it's also that's why many people stop, if that makes sense, because many people they quit because it is a very hard journey. So I don't say that all the advice I got was not true. It was absolutely true. And I think I guess what I'm trying to say is that the advice I can give people who want to go on this journey, take the advice you get from people, but don't take it in and trust your own feelings because you need to be so patient in this industry. Patience is number one. Number one. Like it can take actually where I am right now, I'm starting to shoot 3 films this year. I have only done 2, but this
Amazing.
year it's really taking off. And it took me 10 years. It took me 10 years, and that's years of connections, crying, um, um, laughter. Um, it's being promised a lot of things that are not true. It is a hard industry, but it's also an amazing industry. So I think, like, really, the advice I would say, go on your own journey. If you really, really want this so much, nothing should stop you. Not 1,000 no's, and not people who will promise you things and take it away from you. You just gotta keep going and trust yourself. And then of course, learn from the best people, study with the best people, read. And you need to actually have a really good circle of people around you to survive this industry, I think, because I've seen so many people who get lost. I think it's really, you need to have a good foundation.
And actually, what you said, I can extrapolate because I work with people for many industries.
Mm,
And one fantasy that I perceive people used to have, especially when they just start out, is that, oh, I want to be like that famous people next month, or
mm,
I want to have this success very fast. And
mm.
they look at people like you are, or like other
Yes,
famous and successful people, and they just think that the way they took to get there, it's very easy and fast, and they beat themselves up because they're not there yet. And this is something
exactly,
that
exactly.
I encountered in myself when I just started it,
Mm,
and it can be a big trap because it makes
exactly.
you feel very frustrated.
I feel like, it's so many people today, they are chasing fame. And that's absolutely fine. We all want fame. I want fame. I think most people want fame actually, but you want to be famous for something amazing you're doing, not like a quick fix of something that is gonna be forgotten in 5 minutes. You want first of all, it comes with the foundation of being good at whatever you want to be famous for. So that's really my advice. The fame will come if you focus on being amazing at what you want to do, and also being a good person. And so yeah.
Yeah. And about fame, because you mentioned fame, how do you manage to stay grounded and remain authentic with all the pressure that comes with attention and fame?
I really think I said, I think fame is amazing. If I'm outside and people they recognize me and say something nice, it's amazing. It's validating. But I think in order to stay, what you asked me to stay humble, I think it's back to what I said before. You need to have a really good foundation, a good family, a good partner, a good a good life where you can stay humble, and you need to stay respectful. I think a thing that I always keep with me in my daily life, but also in my work life, I have a lot of gratitude every day. So you need to come with the attitude of gratefulness, of gratitude to your team when you're working with people. It's also to show respect to the people you work with, that you come prepared, that you remember your lines, that you have slept well, if that makes sense, because you want to make people feel happy for the work that you're doing. But again, back to what I'm saying, I think it's really, really important to carry the gratitude with you every day, and that's actually how you stay humble.
I love it. So you mentioned for a person who dreams about having fame, to have a strong foundation. So don't try to cut corners and get fame in any conditions. To stay connected to the family, the roots, work professionally, and stay humble. I absolutely love it. And I think
Yeah.
there are many people out there, as you said, dreaming about fame, and maybe it's going to help them a lot to know that. And also, I wanted
Yes.
to ask you, are there any drawbacks about being famous that you maybe encountered and you were not expecting? And how did you manage to overcome those?
I think like I have really changed my perspective of fame throughout the years, where I remember I'm 31 now, and I remember when I went to Israel, and the fame for me started in Israel, and it was so amazing and overwhelming, and I just wanted to be everywhere. It was fantastic to be seen everywhere and stuff. But it's really funny because the older I get, and now it sounds like I am really old, but really like the years has really taught me that um I really want to have a simple life. I think it's amazing to work really well, and I want the fame to be on the work perspective, but I actually I want to avoid all the fame maybe on my personal life. Like now I live in a really small town in Denmark, in a beautiful house by the water, and I love it, and I don't want anything else. I'm almost like, now when I walk outside and go and grab a coffee on the street, I'm like, I'm trying to avoid all that, you know, because it's still a small town, but people here definitely know who I am and this and that. But I think I'm trying to get a bit more away from it. But I wouldn't say I have had any bad experiences with it. I think it's a beautiful thing to have. Of course, there is some uncomfortable situations once in a while, messages on social media, or I had once someone who was a bit aggressive who walked up to me and a group I was with in London, because I had posted where I was in London, and that was really uncomfortable as well. But if that's what you want, you also have to understand the minuses that comes with it. So yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because it's actually one of the principles of my coaching practice, the accepting both benefits and drawbacks in everything you
So
want,
true.
because you cannot skip
So
one of
true.
those. It's so
So
important.
true. So true. And if the minus weight more than the positive, then you shouldn't choose this path. Like you say, there is really benefits and withdrawals and everything. So you just need to choose. What do you want?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amazing. And the last question, you are an active contributor on promoting diversity and inclusion, which is great. And I wanted to ask you more about that, how this is connected with your life mission and your inspiration of serving others throughout what you're doing. Can you share more about that?
So I think for me, my purpose is really, and that's also some feedback I really get from a lot of girls out there, younger than myself, and same age, but I get it from a lot of women out there where they say that, and I don't really realize that myself, to be honest. Of course, I'm trying to, but it's not my. I'm just trying to be good, to be a good person, and to be professional. But a lot of feedback I get is that, I really inspire other women to follow their dreams and that they believe they can do whatever they want, like what they dream of doing. So I think to answer that question, my higher purpose is really to inspire others, not just women, but also men, of course, but just to really follow your dreams, because that's what I did. And I did not come from a place where I had those opportunities or any help, by the way. So I think that's really my higher purpose, to inspire other women to be the best version of themselves, to believe in themselves, and to not be scared, because I feel like I feel there's so many people out there today. We are really scared of being judged by others. I have experienced, I had this conversation with a woman I met, actually a girl, she was a bit younger than me, on a trip a few months ago. And I just told her about my story and she was so inspired by it. I think sometimes I don't understand, what effect my story has on others. And she just couldn't stop asking me, but how could you just do it without being judged? And I said, I was being judged. I was being judged by a lot of people going on my journey, even from my own family. So what I told her was that even though people don't believe in you, the most important thing is that you believe in yourself. Because it all starts with you. If you don't believe in yourself, you will never get to where you want to be. So that is my purpose. I want to inspire other women to follow their heart and their goals, their dreams.
And I think at least in this interview is a great piece of inspiration. And I'm sure I'm inspired, and many women will be inspired by your story and by what you shared. So thank you so much, Lee,
I'm so happy.
accepting to have this honest and open talk. And thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for our next one.